Construction Heat 101, so Jim will cover a lot of that. We'll talk about propane, storage cylinders, gas flow, piping, the basics of construction flow, or gas flow, and Jim will have a whole glossary of terms and things like that to go through once we get that started. And then obviously our biggest component of why we're all here is the technical service training. In detail, these two are going to be going through operation, technical troubleshooting, how to do repairs. On a number of the categories, we're going to split you off into groups and actually go to workstations, and you're actually going to troubleshoot a unit that's down. You're going to have to get that unit up and operating again, and of course we'll have some assistants here to help you, but we're going to go do that in 2 or 3 different categories. So, and then before I move on quickly, just because he just stepped in, I want to introduce as well, Henry Glover is our Director of Sales.
Morning.
My boss. Henry overlooks all of our sales, so agricultural product, construction product, event, just everything we sell on the heater side worldwide. So manages, what is there now on our team, 10 sales reps?
About that.
11
Thanks for coming
people.
to spend time with us, and you're going to have a busy couple of days, so we appreciate it.
I mentioned this earlier, guys. Be interactive, ask questions, take notes. No question is a dumb question. Again, chances are we're thinking of asking it, somebody else is in the room too. So please, it's a small group and we're here to make sure that you guys get the most out of it as you can. Talk about the materials provided, they're yours, take notes, do whatever you need to do on that. If they see value in, you want an extra copy of something or whatever, then just let us know. We'll email it to you, we'll print more, we'll do whatever we can to make sure you have to take home with you what you need. Most importantly, have fun. We're a pretty informal group. We've got a lot to cover in the next couple of days. We don't want it to be so mundane and drilling. So, we'll take some breaks, we'll have some fun. So jumping into product overview, and just to kind of keep things rolling. The product families, when we group things into families, you'll hear us talk about categories of product. When I refer to PFAs or convection heat, those groupings typically relate to the heat transfer technology behind them as well. I don't think we talk a lot about that in detail. I'll go through each slide, but when I talk about heat transfer, they're all heaters, they all produce combustion. How are we getting the heat from the unit out into the environment to help you understand applications and purpose? So we're going to go through each one of these categories. So our family is portable forced air, 2 portable forced air families of products. Simply, one is a gas. When we say gas, we're referring to propane or natural gas. And then we have our oil-fired family, oil-fired being kerosene or diesel. So 2, and typically our torpedo-style heaters. Our convection heaters, which you see on the back table there, we're going to cover in detail the Workman 225, which is 95% of our convection sales. But we'll point out the differences between all those. We'll talk about radiant heat. You guys will see these, your tank top heaters, more so, in the rental channel, our flat panel and 360-degree output radiant heaters. We'll talk briefly about torches, handheld torches, and then what we call our ductable direct-fired unit heaters, which are our premiers. They are direct-fired systems, very different than what we used to in torpedoes because they are ductable. You're going to hear a lot about premiers in the next couple of days. And then lastly, of course, our newest, our indirect-fired heater, our Foreman 500. So, our PFA gas heaters, our tradesman family. To talk about key features of these products and kind of what they do is they produce an intense amount of temperature heat. So as you see, you've got a cylinder. We create combustion. We produce a very, very hot amount of heat when we force air, portable forced air heaters. We force air over that combustion and bring heat out at the end of the cylinder and put that heat into the environment. It's very high temperature. They're very portable for that reason. You can pick them up, carry them anywhere. Our oil-fired systems are all on wheels, with the exception of our 75, which is a suitcase model. Pick it up and carry it. But definitely, key advantage is movability, moving from room to room as you go around. Directional air output, so you can force air. As you see, because it's a cylinder, you're pushing air out of it. You can force air into an environment. Stick it into a stairwell, stick it into a room. You can direct your heat, not necessarily have heat loss from behind you. All our models, all of our gas models now have variable heat output. So what we may call a tradesman 400 being a 400,000 BTU, you can actually turn that unit down as low as 250. That's what we mean by variable. Our smaller unit, our 170 It's variable down to 125, and we have a brand new unit coming out. We currently have a Tradesman 100, which is a 2-stage, so it has a high-low of 50 to 100. I believe mid-October is another month away, we'll be releasing our Tradesman 125. It's our smallest in the family, which will replace the 100, and it will be variable, I believe, from 70 to 125,000 BTU. All these units are thermostat controlled, just in the control at the back of the unit. Cycle the unit on and off when heat demand is met.
The only thing I want to mention on this too is that, you know, it says high low. You don't have to set it to either high or low. You can set it anywhere.
Slowly turn it up, turn it down, whatever it is you need to do. You know, so we talked about that heat transfer. These units all are mechanically supported, so they have fans. We plug them in, we turn a fan, and we create air, which pushes air over the top of that unit. I talked about the temperature. You know, a Tradesman 170 will typically produce about 400 to 500 degrees Fahrenheit in temperature. 400 is probably closer to 700 or 800 degrees Fahrenheit. So, you know, when we talk about heat, and we'll get into a little bit about BTUs and how we heat an environment, it all comes down to BTUs. The BTU is what is required to change the temperature of the air. So you can do it with extremely hot temperatures, you can do it with much milder temperatures. And you'll hear that throughout the day when we talk heat transfer. So typically forced air, you're producing a very intense temperature. We're putting a lower volume because of size and space restrictions. We're putting air coming off of that fan through this chamber, taking that temperature at the end of the unit. If you could visualize on a an infrared system, what you see coming out of the end of this is a very intense red ball of heat. And that ball comes out, you put air in it, and the ball slowly stretches out. So what starts as this much intense heat kind of stretches out and then starts to dissipate up into your environment. So, you know, with this unit, you're probably standard 12 feet out, smaller units, 6 feet, 6, 8 feet out. You're going to come out and then naturally it's going to dissipate because it's such an intense temperature. Higher the temperature, the quicker it's going to rise. So with these units, you're putting out intense heat, you're able to convert those BTUs very quick into your environment. However, you know, they're typically for smaller spaces because you can dissipate that heat quicker. But that's your heat transfer on that. Fan pushes air over the flame to force heat out of the chamber. Very high temperature, but very limited travel distance. So you hear us refer to these more as space heaters in the construction environment. We'll talk creamers later where we talk about them being environment heaters. Applications, I mean, these are very typical in rental. Many of you may have, and if you don't, I mean, you've seen them. They're very common in rental environments. Early phase of construction, they may not have electricity to the home yet. They may not have natural gas plumbed. So for the portability reasons, they can bring up propane cylinders remotely and just heat up an environment. Directional heat throws require smaller, more protected spaces. Independent contractors, especially when we talk oil fire. When I say the independents, the guys that are picking up and moving a lot, they're going from one house to the next, the tile guys, the painters, the drywallers, they want that ease of portability. They're not necessarily doing something permanent, installed for long periods of time. Housing construction, commercial building, equipment sheds, barns, warehouses, just anywhere where temporary directional heat is required. I mentioned the models that are available. I haven't updated this yet because it's not technically out yet, so we still do have our Tradesman 100, which is available today. Our Tradesman 170, which is this smaller unit here. The 170 is also available in a natural gas model. So the 170 and the 170N representing natural gas. And then, of course, our Tradesman 400. The Ultra that you see at the end of that, we have both standard models and Ultra models. So a standard model would simply say Tradesman 170. The Ultra on the end represents the fact that it's got built-in diagnostics. There'll be Jim's pointing out that small little LED light on the back of it. We'll simply flash error codes that'll help you diagnose exactly what's wrong with it, at least where you start looking.
We'll go through all that stuff later on.
Yeah. Go through this a little quicker because, again, it's the same technology. It's portable forced air cylindrical heat, so it's a torpedo system. For those that can't see these down here, there's our 170, our 75. Very similar system, of course. Now we're using liquid fuel. We're using diesel, kerosene, fuel oil, 1 or 2. So they refer to them as oil-fired products. But Same features, puts out a more intense temperature, has a fan that shoots fire over top of that system. The big difference is going to be that fuel draw system, and then some extra bells and whistles, but we'll get into that as well. But the same type of key features. And one thing we talk about in licensing, more and more, and hopefully not in your market because it gets very difficult, more and more we're seeing as we move to major metro markets, there's a lot stricter requirements now beyond propane storage, propane use, propane hookup. So we're starting to see that spike in sales in oil-fired systems again, because you don't need to worry about licensing, storage. You just take this up, fill it with diesel fuel, and take it anywhere you go. So that's the big difference in the portability. The fuel tank, of course, is attached to the unit, and you can get that diesel fuel anywhere. So we're starting to see that trend in portability of the kerosene product. Same heat transfer, talked about that. Almost identical, and Jim will talk about when we talk about cap design. You guys will learn a lot more about this in the technical part in terms of how the internal components are different than the external. And then same applications. More commonly for your smaller trades, again, your electrical guys, your plumbing guys, tile guys, the guy that's going into a house doing the job, packing up, going to the next one, or they say house, small commercial, hospitals, whatever, but they're responsible for their workspace and they're taking their heat with them. That's where you get into a lot more on these portable products. Available models, we start with our 75, we go up to our 125, 175, and 210, which will all be very similar to this size and shape of product. And then we do go up to high pressure systems, the 400,000 and the 650,000 BTU, much larger, obviously heat output units, not quite all portable, but not quite as, pick it up, put it in the back of the pickup truck, they get a little bit bigger. And we'll talk about all this